Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I am gonna be talking about my pregnancy, how I found out I was pregnant on a crazy way. But before that, I want to give a little background that throughout this time, me and my husband, we were planning on having a baby, but we were planning it to have it after June of 2022. This is because we were planning our religious wedding. So I was married, well, actually, I got married on December 19 of the year 2013 to my husband, and this was just like our civil court wedding. And then this year, 2022, of June 18 was our religious wedding date. We went ahead and we were doing all the planning, the preparations was going on. And I remember, like, me and my husband, we were ready for a third baby. Like, we wanted to include a third baby into our lives. Like, we got baby fever again, and then obviously me healing after my postpartum depression with my second baby. I healed, and I was just like blessed, like, with the idea that I was gonna relive all those beautiful moments from pregnancy and birth. I wanted my experience this time to be different, and, like, obviously with the help of my family support and of God, of course, because I've been very spiritually at this time. So I decided, you know I was ready to be a mother of three, but obviously we were planning our baby to be born, or like we were planning to have another baby after our wedding date, with which was June 18 of 2022. And I had a little side joke with my mother-in-law because they knew of our intentions, like we would speak about it openly, especially like my husband, because he really, like, wanted a third baby into our lives and stuff, and also I did. But it was mostly like him would just like deliberately talk about it more, about it. And we were like, yeah, we're gonna plan our third baby. But definitely it was like after our wedding plans, because I mean, we were doing the wedding planning, and then on top of that I had school, because in the last video I told you guys that due to that fact that the courses were added into my curriculum, um, I still needed a semester off to graduate college. And, like, what did I do? I continued my education even after the stroke and the paralysis that happened. Like, I thought, and being in my postpartum depression, like, I felt like I needed to do something for my own. I needed to feel I was being productive, or just like had a little time for myself. And to me, that was school. My biggest dream and my goal was to, like, either way, like, finish college and graduate. And of course, now having children obviously changed my perspective into leading by example. Like, I want my children to be proud of me. I want to, like, tell them once they grow up, or they could watch these um, videos that are up here, like, in a way to, like, let them know that everything I do it for them, and, like, for the better of my family and for myself. So that was my ultimatum goal, was finish college and all. So I did went ahead and enrolled. I did it. It was an exciting setting, because as I was embarking back into the school life, my child, my oldest, she was starting her pre-K journey as well. She was going to school. For me, it was like just the most beautiful stage, because, like I said, you learn every day once you have kids. And obviously, since she's my oldest, like, I go through everything with her first. So it was very exciting, like, watching her go to school, doing her little homework, her little assignments. And she felt like very, very empowered, and very, like, looking up to me, because she saw me doing schoolwork, she would see me do homework and all the stuff. So it was, in a way, like, something that we both bonded on. And it was just like like a very beautiful experience. But then again, it kind of like reminds you, like, how your child is growing. Like, damn, like, now she's 5 years old, and it's just like time really flies. So I was doing that. We were planning, and then, like I said, me and my mother-in-law, we had this joke talking about, oh, like how I better not turn out to be pregnant before the wedding, because what were we gonna do in terms of preparations, like within my wedding gown, my wedding dress, like a lot of things, were into play. So I was like, no, like definitely, like oh my god, no. I was not on denial, but I was more like watching out for the time frame, because I'm like, this is my wedding. I mean, the first time we didn't have no celebration. It was kind of like an elope. Me and my husband, we just went ahead and eloped. So our families were not into this ceremony, into this celebration. So it was a big deal. And more than the fact that we had marked, I believe, 11 years mark line of being together. Like, so it was like we're together a little bit over a decade. And for us, it was our big moment. My baby, he woke up from a nap. Hold on, I'm gonna go get him. So it was our big moment for us. It was like, I was really, really into the planning of my wedding. And again, I was in school, like, like that was my last semester to do. I went ahead. So as you can imagine, it was all stress. But most definitely, we will always joke about, being pregnant or coming out pregnant. And I always used to say, like, no, like, I can get pregnant after June. Like, I don't care. Like, I was even saying, I could probably get freaking pregnant on my wedding night. Like, you know, but it was just an inside joke, we always had. So what happened was that I was doing my stuff, my planning, going about, excited of our wedding. We were finally gonna have this huge celebration, and to me it was more like renewing my vows to, like, my husband, and my husband to me, because it was just a wedding that was like on hold for such a long time, and I felt like it was the perfect time, um and we were just happy, genuinely, like, just so happy. We had our two babies, we had like our two little girls, and everything just seemed to be perfectly fine until I when I found out I was pregnant. I was in freaking shock, like in disbelief, because the way that I found out, oh my god, y'all not gonna believe this shit, because y'all gonna think I'm freaking crazy or I'm freaking make shit up, but I swear to God, I swear on everything, it's the truth. This is how I found out I was pregnant. So what happened was that, again, I was waiting, well, not again, because on my other two, like, I did the implantation spotting stuff. So this time around, ever since my second child, my periods were normal. Like, I would get it every month, but they were inconsistent with the date. So like, if I would get it like the 15th of the month, next month I wouldn't get it in the 15th. I would get it like between 3 to 4 days later, and that was like a normal pattern to me, right? So just, I knew about the dates, that I was supposed to get my period. So at this point, it is January. I do know the day I was conceived, of course. And it was January 20 something. Oh, she took the phone. Anyway, I was gonna check out the day. I believe it was January 23 when I found out I was pregnant, because like I said, I've been waiting on my period, and before this, like, I had not symptoms, I had revelations, like, like I had things were going on with my body that I didn't feel normal about, like I did thought of like a baby, like the possibility of having a baby like came in my head, but not the fact that I was pregnant or the possibility that I had a baby. It was just the stuff I was experiencing was like if I had a baby. But I was on denial, like on huge denial. Um, so what happened, one of the things that I do remember, like the first incident, because there were like three incidents that happened. So the first incident was my toddler. She was smaller at that time, I believe. Yeah, she was like, she was about to turn 2 years old. Yeah, because she just turned 3 in February, so that was like January of last year, 2022. So she was about to turn 2 years old, and she tend to drink water. Like both of my children, like they drink water more than juice. Like they do have juice throughout the day, but like they prefer more water. So it was around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. We were in the bedroom. We had already finished eating dinner, so we were just like in the room watching TV. And she always has her little sippy cup of water, right? So she had water in the bed, and I remember like I got up to use the bathroom, and I was leaking. I had a leak, I believe, left from my left side of my breast. Like I was leaking, obviously the fluid, like my breasts were preparing for breastfeeding, and I was leaking. With my other two pregnancies, I've never experienced leaking until this my third child. I experienced leaking, but so at that time I didn't thought of leaking as in breast milk leaking, or the fluid and stuff, or whatever that substance is when you're pregnant and you just tend to leak, because obviously your body's preparing for motherhood and all that stuff. So and then I got confused, right? Because the first thing, I'm not gonna lie, it did pop. Like, that's weird. Like, I'm leaking. Like, because it was literally on that spot, So, and it seemed like just so perfect, like if I were leaking. And I thought it was weird and stuff. But then I was like, But then I thought, when my child had water in the bed with me, and she was on me because she was jumping, she was crossing over, she was playing with me, I was playing with her. So she was like kind of like on top of me, on top of my belly, on top of me, while I was laying down with her sippy cup in her hand. So then I dismissed it, like I brushed it off real quick, because she had freaking water in the bed and whatever. And then when I go back to the room, I let my husband know like how I had like leaking, but like it was weird. And then he also thought like, oh, it's the water, because our daughter had the sippy cup of water. So we dismissed it. Then at night times I would experience on my right side of my rib cage, like I would feel like something tugging and pushing into my rib cage, where I would like turn around like at nighttime, like while I would fall asleep, and if I wanted to turn on my side, and I would just like randomly like just pull myself up and like make this sudden moves, it would hurt on my rib cage, like my rib cage, and I will feel this movement inside of me. And I remember telling my husband, I feel like, I told them literally, like, I feel like if I were pregnant, but like when I was 6 months pregnant of the babies, because that's when you will experience the rib cage, the baby put in like either a fist of the hand or the little feet, and it will be somewhat a little bit painful or discomfort. My baby's playing. And I will experience that a lot. Like I had experienced it about, I believe, like 4 or 5 times, where it was like, but again, I was freaking blindfolded. I didn't see the signs because I didn't think I was like freaking pregnant. Obviously at that time, not yet. But I was having these issues, like this weird movements inside my belly, and then of course I was told I was crazy by my husband. You're like, oh, because we got baby fever, like it's just in your head, it's just your imagination. Like for all my 3 babies, he said the same thing, and I'm there like freaking believing. I'm like, well, yeah, like we're like I'm freaking crazy, like, but obviously it was shocking. after. And then the third sign, or the third thing that happened, was that because I was waiting on my period, and like I said, my dates were not consistent, but they were like the most was 4 days late, but it will come, like I'll have my period. So this time it didn't arrive. Like it was on the 6th day, and then I started questioning it, like, oh, my period hasn't come. But because we know this pattern, me and my husband laughed because I told them, oh, like my period hasn't come. It's been like 6 days. So I don't know if I should like worry or not or whatever. And he's just like telling me like, nah, you're not pregnant. And I'm like, no, I know I'm not pregnant. Like we're like freaking 1000% sure. Baby, put it away, mamas. Here. Yeah, so we were like that, like we're not pregnant. Singing to her little brother. So cute. So that was our language. That was like our body language, and our thoughts on that were like, no, we're not like freaking pregnant. Tell me how, like 2 days passes by, right? 2 days passes by, and I get a dream. Okay, in my dream, it was my grandmother. I dreamt my grandmother. She was holding a newborn baby, like the age of 3 months, between 3 to 4 months old. And I dream her vividly. She's carrying this baby in her arms, and it's a boy. It's a baby boy. I see him clearly. Yes, baby. Oh, your earring?
Yeah, but it's not. Come on, can't do it.
Okay. Want me to fix your hair?
Yeah.
Oh, you're trying to put it in. Okay. Sorry, guys. So I have this vivid dream of my grandmother carrying this baby, and she's talking to me. She's like giving me this message. So it's like almost like if it was so real that I could like, I have that dream vividly in my memory and stored in my heart forever, because she was worried. Her message through the dream was that she was worried about me not accepting my baby, or me not accepting my pregnancy, because those were her words. She told me, your baby is so beautiful. Please take good care of him and love him very much. Like her worriness was like the love part was like love him, as like I said, as if almost like if she was worried that I was kind of like reject my pregnancy, or like reject the baby, or the fact that I was even freaking pregnant. And I wake up, it was like 9 in the morning when I had that dream. And before this dream, I had already I had like 2 weeks being lazy in bed, because I didn't feel, my energy was just so drained that I didn't even feel like getting up from bed.
Mama.
What?
Mama.
Here, where is it? And it was 2 weeks. 1 week was my daughter was winter break vacation, because like I said, she already was in school, and at this time it was a snowstorm, like it was snowing, and it was really cold outside. And I took like an extra week because I tended to commute, like taking the bus with my 2 small children into the school, like, and sometimes with the school, the buses would be really packed of students, like middle school students, high school students, and it would just be crazy. So I was feeling very like energy drained. Like I didn't even want to get up. I didn't want to leave my home, like thinking it's freaking snowing outside. It's snow everywhere. It's cold. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go nowhere. So I remember taking an extra week of time off for my daughter, because I had low energy, right? But this time it didn't click to me, like it was just something that happened. So then on that day, it happened to be a Wednesday. And I wake up from this dream, and then that's when it kind of like it clicked. Something in me told me that or made me question, am I pregnant? Like, am I pregnant? And I'm like, no, but I can't be. And then I'm there adding up my period days that I have been missed my period. It was 6 days. And I'm like, well, it's about to be a week. You know, like for a day, it was about to be like one whole week of not having my period at all. And then I started like looking back and questioning it, and I was like, yo. And then I had a pregnancy test in my bathroom, and I knew I had this pregnancy test. So the first thing I did was, like, obviously it's the first P of the morning, so that's like very accurate within the hormone HCG hormones to detect if pregnant or not on the pregnancy stick. And I remember going to the bathroom and I'm like, I'm going to do a pregnancy test just because of this dream, right? Like this freaking dream that I had of my grandma, and I thought it was freaking weird. And not weird, but it's because I do dream her a lot. Like I feel, yes, I do believe that my grandmother gives me messages through my dreams. Like we have like constant communication. Like I do experience that a lot. Um, and I went to the bathroom to get a pregnancy test, and I am mad. As I'm opening the freaking pregnancy test, I am very mad and upset. Like, I don't know, I just got this feeling of just being upset because I can't believe I'm about to do a freaking pregnancy test. When I thought and believed that, there was no need for that. But I was mad, I was pissed because I was like, oh my god. And then there I go, I'm opening it, open the wrapper, and I'm like mad because I'm like, I know for a fact I am not pregnant. Why am I gonna waste this pregnancy test for when I know I'm not pregnant? And boom, to my surprise, you guys, as soon as I finished doing the testing, I left it on the side of the tub, on the edge thingy, while I reached out to get the paper towel in front of me, to clean my business and stuff. So as soon as like I'm reaching out for the paper, I glimpse at the pregnancy stick, and I see the first line marked very dark. It was the first line. So once I saw that first line, like I freaking knew I was pregnant, because I grabbed the freaking stick and I'm watching it, and I am seeing the results reveal, like, as I'm watching it. It's loading, it's going, and the freaking line, the second line marks in the shows. And then there I am stuck in shock. How the fuck how I'm freaking pregnant. And then obviously I was just like, whoa, like I was really shocked. And then I was like, what about the wedding? Like, oh my god, the freaking wedding. What am I gonna do? And then I thought, well, you know what, like I'm just gonna go ahead, continue with the wedding plans. I am not gonna postpone anything. I am not going to
And check out our channel. It's the subscribe button and try to the bell.
and I was like, I am not gonna postpone anything. Like, why would I do that? Like, I already have 2 children with my husband, and I just thought it was gonna be a waste of time, and it's gonna be like, for me, the whole attention now shifted into my pregnancy. Obviously I was overjoyed, I was like freaking happy, like I was starting to embrace it, and it was so crazy and shocking. And I was like, you know what, like, no, I'm gonna go ahead. I already have more than half of the things ready for the wedding. Like the venue was already booked, we had the catering booked, we had the church booked, we had invitations like going, like I was already looking into the stuff. I was more than half than into the wedding preparations. But I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get married like this. The fuck, I have my wedding with my baby bump. But yeah, so that's what I thought. That was my first initial thought. And then I thought about my husband's excitement, because it's like, oh my god, like, oh my god, we're freaking pregnant. We're pregnant. And like it was just hitting me slowly. And then like I remember touching my belly with excitement. I was like freaking tearing, because I was like, I am pregnant, I'm having a baby. And obviously I was overjoyedly excited about the possibility, about the fact that maybe I was gonna have my boy this time. And that's what I just thought. You know, initially I wanted to wait to tell the news to my husband on Valentine's Day on February 14th, just because Valentine's Day was about to come up around the corner. But and I thought it would be the cutest surprise, right? Like what? And then I was like, no, because I couldn't hold myself. I needed to tell somebody. I needed to speak it out because it was just too much good news for me to keep it in. I couldn't hold my tongue, and I was like, no, no, because then I thought thinking, I am not gonna be doing certain stuff, and what am I gonna explain to my husband? Like, you know. And that's what happened. Of course, I did plan him. The pregnancy announcement to him was that same day, because that day I was just so happy thinking of ideas, brainstorming of how am I gonna announce my pregnancy to him. And you know, I've always watched these YouTube videos of like people. Oh, my baby, he's having a hard time sleeping, you guys. It's just one of these hard days. It's one of those hard days where like he is crazy, my baby. Oh, my baby. And I'm just so happy and excited for him. And I did tell my husband on my daughter's chalkboard about how I put player number 3 has entered the game. I posted the pregnancy stick. I put it with a magnet up on the chalkboard Yizo thingy, and then I grabbed like 2 of his Xbox controllers for the hands of, you know, player number 3 and whatever. And that was how I broke him the news. He was unbelievable, like he couldn't believe it. He thought I was pranking him, and he was like, no, like don't mess with me with this type of things, like don't like freaking hype me up like it's freaking. And I'm like, no, it's like for real. Like I had to tell him we're freaking pregnant. Like what the fuck? It was so shocking. I was like, I know, it's what a shocking news. But of course we were excited, and ever since that it's been history. I booked up my first OBGYN appointment to check on my baby, just to see how far along I was, and of course to confirm the pregnancy. Hi, baby. Yeah, and that's what happened. And then I called in and they gave me my appointment to be February 7th was my first appointment with him. And I go into, okay, you guys are gonna come with me because we're gonna go do him a bottle porque ya no aguanta el muchacho. Ya no aguanta mi niño hermoso. But yeah, excuse my motherhood mess. It's not much of a mess, but it always looks freaking messy. My daughter came back from school. We are in here. And that's what happened. I scheduled my appointment. Okay, we have some water. And and I go into my appointment, and I am verified. I am 7 weeks pregnant with like 3 freaking days. Ugh, excuse my daughter. We are in the potty training section. You guys, it's so hard making videos. I swear to God, I enjoy them. I love them. I want to give you the content. But days like this are hard. They get very hard.
And the birthday girl, remember that, subscribers.
Yeah, but they know your birthday passed. And that's what's happening. Let me flip you over here into the sink. But and I go into my appointment, and I am told that I am 7 weeks and 3 days freaking pregnant. I couldn't believe it. And first of all, I was very emotional. I was very upset because somehow they didn't let my husband go in with me into the appointment because of COVID. I was so mad and emotional. I was literally freaking crying because my husband has been in every step of the way of a mother to babies, and he wasn't allowed to be in my freaking pregnancy appointments. Like, none of them. The only ones, I freaking made it like a must, like he had to be there, or it was on the ultrasounds when we go and meet our baby. And that's what happened. So I was told that on the first appointment, after they told me how many weeks I am, they freaking confirmed the pregnancy. Tell me how they're talking to me about the possibility of terminating my pregnancy. Because obviously, because of the history of the stroke, the history of my paralysis, my doctor wanted me to tell her a little bit more about that, like how did that came out to me and how that could have affected my pregnancy. Obviously, they were like freaking concerned. And ever since that first appointment, I've been on the specialist thingy. Like, my pregnancy was treated as a special case that they call it, like very close observation. They were on top of me, like, of course, because of the health of my baby and myself, But they were already talking to me about the possibility of terminating the pregnancy. And of course, I'm like on denial, like, no, I will not do. Like, when it came to be, like, I was not okay with that. They're like telling me, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I am not okay with that. I am not going to do that. I don't want it to come to that way. I was already stressing and being overwhelmed. Of course, obviously, my body, it was something that I was concerned about, because my body, these were questions I've always had. Yeah. What's wrong?
Come to the bathroom.
I can't right now. Hold on. It's just so satisfying how he watches how I make his bottle. He knows what's coming. Of course, he's 6 months. He's just so concentrated watching. Oh my God.
Mom, guess what?
What?
Guess what?
What?
Because yesterday we talked about water, and then I painted it, and then yesterday we were talking about water. Mr. Herrera grabbed a zip bag and put water in it a little bit, and then draw on it, and then he grabbed his flashlight and then turned it on, and then we saw the circles because the rain is going down, and then the rain came in, and then yesterday when we was sleeping at the night, the rain came in our house, and then went inside.